If you're up against a Giganta deck, I think I'm keeping. Was my Double Master Seal deck. Like, I posted a link to it on Twitter. It was pretty good. I started off 5-0. And I drew myself into 9th place. Which felt pretty bad. It was like 4-color non-green with lots of removal and lots of bombs. Pretty good deck. It was like a Reanimator deck. Oh, I also had it. I had an Aethermage's Touch in my seal deck, and I had like Archon or not Archon. Sorry, what's the name of that card? The black Ashen. I had Ashen Rider in the deck. I had Cedrus. I had the Mardu Angel. I had a lot of good targets. We're going to hold the Persist for one turn. I do think... Oh, dude, they're playing Ground Rift Illuminated Virtuoso. It's pretty sick. So now I guess I'm persisting. Yeah, Aethermage's Touch isn't Double Masters. And I was just like playing with it. And I like hit my Ashen Rider a couple times. I'm like, I was thinking about it in Esper Ephemerate Reanimator, because obviously like you have a lot of incidental hits with Grieve, Solitude, Mulldrifter, and then I was like, well, I guess Witch's Cottage just ties it all together, huh? Yeah, I know you'd be super hyped for today, Toborg. Yeah, but I just like, yeah, I weirdly enough had a good Aethermage's Touch deck and sealed. I had no reanimation spells besides my Cedrus. So I posted it vertically. You can just tilt your head. But I had Dragonlord, Slumgar, Ashen Rider, the Mardu Angel, Cedrus, the 3/3 Flicker card, Grand Arbiter. It was pretty good. I had good mana, 3 bounce lands, lots of removal, some card advantage. Go Chump Block next turn. I tried the version with Pox and the white land. Get when lands die. I've played Smallpox in Reanimator. Obviously, like, this is a different version. I don't think you want to play Smallpox in Cottage, Aethermage's Touch. But Smallpox Reanimator is viable. It's fine. Did I win? Did I win the sealed? I started off 5-0. The tiebreaker math was weird because there was a lot of draws. But typed into the tournament calculator, I was told that I could not be knocked out of top 8. I ran it by a friend of mine with an accounting degree. He told me I couldn't be knocked out of top 8. So I was like, okay, this is probably fine. And I drew round 6. And then because my breakers were horrible for some reason, I was the only X and O, or XO1 that had to play the last round, because otherwise I would be knocked out of top 8. Only if one of the X1s who was paired down won their round. If that player didn't win their round, then I was going to be fine. But I guess, spoiler, I was not fine. Do I get Mulldrifter here? Or another Solitude? I think I just get another Solitude. Vampiric Tutor. Yeah, Double Masters 2 is what inspired the deck. Yeah. Yeah, apparently an accounting degree is not helpful in calculating tiebreakers, as it turns out. Opponent's hand is Ground Rift Mystery card. I think I just pass. They know I have Solitude. I'm a bit worried about Immersion Scathe. I'm also like, I'm a bit worried about killing the Solitude, and then they can just go in on the Ground Rift. Okay. I think I just... They know I have Solitude, so I don't think just jamming the Solitude in combat makes much sense. They probably have Lava Dart. Again, they know I have Solitude. So if I Solitude and their last card is Emergent Scathe, I'm dead. I know the other card is Ground Rift. I think that if they had Lava Dart as their last card, they would have darted instead of using Mutagenic Growth, so I'm just gonna do this. I'm kind of expecting to get Emerge unscathed. Didn't. So I don't think they have Emerge unscathed. Let's just get their board empty then, so they can't draw it and beat me. And this can be a Cottage for me if I need it to be. ID stands for intentional draw. Okay, another Esper Ephemerate Reanimator. Okay, I guess I always, okay, you've done a deck tech for the list I'm playing right now. I'm liking the list at the moment. I wouldn't recommend a change. Good deck tech. You can even see some content on it live right now on this channel. Maybe I should have got back Grief end of turn. Oh, it had Mending? It looked exactly the same. Oh, so it's just Mending over Indulgence? Okay. Talking about Mending over Indulgence, this deck has this deck has 4 lands that tap for only black, and so I think Faithful Mending is worse than Tainted Indulgence because of that casting cost. Also, getting to 4 mana is a bit more of a challenge if you're playing Mending, because you're like more times like looting away lands. It's card disadvantage instead of card parity. We've talked about it a lot so far, though. So I do want to get rid of their Ground Rift now, and I can set up for an Alpha Strike next turn. Aetos has redeemed VIP or Mod. Been around a long time, buddy. Glad to have you here. I guess I might attack. Because I have lethal next turn anyways. I guess, yeah, attacking seems fine. I just get, this kind of stops them from maybe Ground Rift to getting through the blockers too. Yeah, I kind of figured you would choose Mod. Wait, you're in the prediction and you have the million channel points? Have you just been sitting on it for a while? Okay, up a game against Boros Ground Rift. I don't think that they're playing any Graveyard Hate. Oh no, they might be playing. I was playing, I think, Leyline in the Naya version, and then Silence in the Boros version. But I think both are probably fine. But assuming they're playing this list, I don't need to be too worried about Graveyard Hate. I'll just bring in the Prismatic Endings. And the Teferis are probably okay. And then cut the Mulldrifters and 2 Griefs. Maybe play 2 Teferi, 3 Grief. That's probably fine. What does VIP do? VIP has very few privileges besides just having a nice like diamond next to your name. The main thing that you are allowed to do as VIP instead of Mod is I think talk during emote only mode, which is a pretty small upgrade. I'm gonna try to keep this hand. Well, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna try to make it work. Discard Archon on turn 1 probably. Hopefully not be dead by turn 3, which is maybe a bad plan because their deck does often kill by turn 3. One Karmic Guide. I think it's too high on the mana curve. Kind of cool to Aethermage's touch into, but you already have a Unburial Rites in that spot too, which you need to have for your Unmarked Grave. It's not really negotiable, in my opinion. Okay, so we need to draw Solitude, Prismatic Ending, Grief maybe. Maybe we just go to game 3. Oh yeah, VIPs don't get yeah, they can spam the chat. There's no restriction on chat messages. Wait, we're just not dead? I think we're gonna get Upkeep silenced here. That's my prediction. Okay. I've been silenced. Yeah, I guess I'll play this so that I have the option to try to Tainted Indulgence to Solitude and live. He didn't even get the pyramid off, bada. Failed. Breadnought, good username. Thank you for the 5 months. Appreciate you. I think I'm unlikely to be playing too many more Aethermage's Touch Brews Toborg. As you probably know, it's like not that good in a lot of shells, but I do think it fits like exactly here. Okay, survive. If they're casting Silence, they're almost definitely killing me though. Updates on Fervent Blade. Okay, they're playing a Gut Shot, which we were suggesting playing over the Show of Confidence. I haven't been working on the deck since I played the Jeskai version, but I would probably play the Jeskai version that I played last. All right, this is this is not lethal. This is 14. Do they have a third Silence? No, it should be good here. I might get got by Emerged Unscathed. No, they would have cast it to try to kill me. Alright, GG. Thoughts on Riveling and not running Grief? I think you should play Grief and Living End. The combination of like Grief, Force of Negation is part of like what makes Living End so good and so frustrating to play against, is that you just have access to all this premium 0 mana interaction that is hard to deal with. Persist versus Incanted Bolt. I built their deck. They're not playing Lightning Bolt, and you want a Prismatic Ending first to kill their Virtuoso. But again, I built their deck. No Lightning Bolt. My favorite flex. Okay, up against Giganta the Wellspring. Likely to be Tron or Shadow. I think I'm going to keep this hand. Just get to Cottage back some Mulldrifters. Yeah, just time out Atos on for the rest of time. You're VIP, not mod, sent to the Shadow Realm. Ooh, Gigantha, Blackleaf Cliffs, and Meat just snap taking the Tainted Indulgence, no consideration. Gonna get the tower. I guess I'll save the Marsh Flats to potentially Cottage. Like if I draw a Shockland or a Swamp, then I'll want to Cottage probably. So this is probably Jund Saga. What else would they take? I don't know. Oh, sorry, it was their only target. It was Inquisition, not Thoughtseize. It was just like resolved really quickly. So Jund Saga is historically a pretty tricky matchup for Reanimator since they play main deck Graveyard Hate off their Sagas. That being said, I do think that this version is new, improved, and is better against Graveyard Hate because of the presence of Cottage, Aethermage's Touch. Why do you pick it as Jund Saga and Uber Jump? The presence of Gigantha almost always means Jund Saga instead. Taio's Tracker also usually means they're playing Saga plus Ren and 6, but in the Boomer Jund, thus they almost always play Seasoned Pyromancer Liliana, and then like those cards are harder to support with Saga, so Gigantha usually means Saga. Land? Ding ding ding. Do I want to Cottage back a Mulldrifter? I think I already have a Mulldrifter in hand. I'll just go to Swamp. If I had another black card, maybe I get the Grief, but I don't have a black card to pitch. We took a Terminate. They're unlikely to have too many more answers to this Archon, especially because they're not playing Liliana. They might just, have it anyways. Cottage back Mulldrifter, then cast Unmarked Grave. Oh, yeah, we're about to shuffle. Okay, never mind then. Have to cast the Unmarked Grave first, and then Cottage. Dude, this deck is a treat. I might play it tomorrow, too. They do have Delirium if they're playing on Holy Heat. Heat's not that common in these gen decks right now, though. Okay, so just pass here, I think. Could obviously cast the Unmarked Grave. That's probably better, actually. Gonna Unmarked Grave for Rites, because I have the Archon Indulgence in hand. Yeah, there were a lot of Archon of Cruelty doubters back when we were first working on Reanimator back in the day, but it's definitely just, I agree, certainly proven itself. Certainly proven itself. Up a game against Gen Saga is really nice. I'm going to bring in the Stony Silences for sure. Probably cutting Grief, 4th Ephemerate. What have I been doing a lot against, like, when I bring in the Stony Silences against these, like, Ragavan decks with Artifact Hate. I think against Gen Saga, I might just want 3 endings on the draw. Maybe 1 Teferi over 3rd ending on the play. The only good reanimation target is a Raveler. Finally, a good take. Finally, a good take. Terastodon is mostly for the Tron matchup, but there's a few other spots you can bring it in, like Titan and Valakut and Belcher. But mostly for Tron. Like, I think there are better cards you could bring in like all of those other matchups, but those other matchups are also like less bad than Tron. If Image 2 hypothetically released without Archon Emissary, what would be the Reanimator go-to target? I mean, Reanimator would probably be, like, unplayable. It would maybe be Agent of Treachery, though. What do you think Prismatic Ending in the main at the moment? Doesn't hit a lot for meta decks. So, Ending is important in this deck as, like, an answer to Graveyard Hate more so than as an answer to, permanence. And Aethermage's Touch, like, you know, Aethermage's Touch is also kind of an answer to Graveyard Hate because it doesn't use the graveyard. Unless you're cottaging, then it does, but I digress. We're on a mold of 6. I think I keep this. Put back an Archon. But I digress. And we still have the endings in the sideboard. I just don't think they're mandatory in the main deck. Also, like, Ending is, like, not that good against Murktide. It's okay. Like, it's good if they have turn 1 Ragavan, but it's, like, pretty mediocre to bad otherwise. And it's bad against Living In. It's bad against 4-color Omnath. It's bad against, the big mana decks that are kind of popular, too. And so, like, it's really, like, mostly... Like, it's okay. It's good against Shadow. It's good against, Hammer Time. And it's okay against Murktide. But I'm also, like, just kind of generally lower on Prismatic Ending than I've been, like, since MH2's release. Is Stony Silence really needed? Stony Silence is, like, one of your best sideboard cards. It's 2 mana. You have no Graveyard Hate against so many decks, including my opponent's deck. Why didn't you keep that? I could have discarded Archon and brought it back turn 3. Maybe I should have kept it then. Prismatic Ending is good against Amulet. I don't think it's good for Reanimator's game plan against Amulet. It's also, like... It's, like, way more medium against Amulet than everybody makes it out to be, too. I think people tend to exaggerate how good it is in that matchup. Okay, really need to draw land next turn, but then we're doing okay if we do. My Reanimator shells have been liking Voidmere? Okay. Recall and Space Silence. I mean, I think Stony Silence is better because it's just like, again, you have no Graveyard Hate the rest of this game is what Stony Silence says. Where Recall does not say that. I need to draw land. I mean, Mulldrifter is likely to draw me a land, right? How likely am I to forget about this Void Mirror? Yeah, we even cited out an Ephemerate this game. No, Voidmere stops my grief and Solitude. I think I could probably get a basic swamp here. They shocked the Stomping Ground up, which maybe needs the Veil of Summer or a red removal spell, but I'm okay trading Lightning Bolt for Ephemerate right now, especially with the Voidmere in play. Yeah, that's fine. I can go Persist Mulldrifter next turn if I don't find something better to do. Modest, thank you for the raid. Hope you're having a good day. Appreciate you. Okay, so they get the Nile Spellbomb. The tracker is making this construct a huge threat. Ren and 6 is also about to ultimate, I just realized. That's an interesting draw. I think I just main phase this, hope to hit Archon into a white source and Ephemerate the Archon. I don't really see myself winning outside of that. Otherwise, we just try to settle this game 3. I guess I'll play it out with this hit. The fact that I can't like re-evoke it again because of the Voidmere is pretty tough, though. The Voidmere definitely lined up pretty good against my hand. I had an awkward mulligan too. Ultimate's the Ren and 6. They've got a lot of lightning bolts now. They have a second Ren and 6. I wonder if I'm supposed to Prismatic Ending the Voidmere. They also might just have 3 lands and kill me. Yeah, usually being able to Aethermage's touch into like a Solitude and re-evoke is really nice. Or like draw step hit a grief maybe. I think I like my sideboard plan. I might be. I think I'm interested in 1 Teferi over 3rd Ending on the play, but I think this is still fine. What sideboard card do I recommend against 4-color Omnath is blue-white control just down? Not just down. Narset, Parter of Veils is the best card you can play, followed by like Mystical Dispute. But Narset, Part of the Veils is the best card you can play. Yeah, also playing like if you want to play blue-white X control and you want to have an okay Omnath matchup, I recommend playing this band's control deck. Maybe a few cards different, but this is like I've never minded the Omnath matchup with this variant. It's also plays Yorion, plays a lot more Planeswalkers. Maybe not play Spreading Seas, but maybe I would too. Okay, I have to mulligan the 1-lander. Okay, this hand's pretty good. Put back a land. Opponent also mulls to 6. Hope to not get Ragavans. Yeah, we can get Inquisition. We lose our Persist, that's okay. Yeah, Hammer did really good this weekend. It's been doing really well lately. This does give them perfect info on my hands, which is kind of bad, but I think it's worth like not taking the extra damage and keeping my fetch lands for maybe Cottage. Like I could go Evoke Mulldrifter, then Aethermage Touchback Mulldrifter. When I play Magic off stream, is it always text testing or to play for fun? I play for fun sometimes, but it's tough for my fun activity to be Magic when I play so much during the week and write so much about it during the week. Before I started writing for Channel Fireball, I would play like a decent amount of limited off stream for fun, but a lot of my off stream activities are also working for Channel Fireball and working on other projects, and usually I prefer to play D&D. I've been playing Persona 5 lately. But I've done some cube drafts recently off stream for fun. TCG player? I don't mean TCG player because it's been Channel Fireball this whole time, but soon it will be TCG player. Okay, so they have Gigantha, so I don't need to be worried about Ephemerate at all. Or sorry, Endurance at all. Yeah, I have the Royale one. I've been playing a bunch of it. I'm probably like 30 hours in or so. Maybe a little less. Maybe a little more. TCG player bought Channel Fireball. Yeah, everybody told me the Royale was worth it, although it was like a difference of like $40. Yeah, I also don't know if like TCG player is gonna keep like I don't know how the branding is gonna change. We're like, I've been told like, you know, my contract isn't my contract, and like the Channel Fireball team is all kind of staying the same people, just maybe gonna be named different. Well, it's pretty good. Definitely gonna respond with the Aethermage's touch. Yeah, I'm not. I'll figure it out. It's also like, you know, you know, it's the sponsor. Like, it's not like I care at all about the branding. I like working with the Channel Fireball team. I like to have an outlet to write for Channel Fire for, you know, Magic, but I am not very passionate about like the branding. They took an Indulgence, Unmarked Grave. Attack the Renin 6. Yeah, I've been listening. I was just listening to the Persona 5 soundtrack. I had my battery died though, but I was just listening to it actually. Shit slaps. Ending the token, I think. I mean, I don't have any extra info about the inside dealings of the business side of Channel Fireball, you know. It's hard for me to make the content. I don't really know the details of the acquisition. I think it's, you know, to be honest, somewhat boring. You'd think I'd be a bit more interested, but I like that I get to work with the same team. I like that I get to have an outlet for writing. That's all, like, I personally care about. Not worth ending for 3 to hit the mirror. I mean, ending for 3 to hit mirror. Do you mean, I don't know. I'm not that scared of Void Mirror necessarily. I know it was good against me last game. Need targets for Solitudes. The Renin 6 better target for ending. I mean, the Renin 6 just isn't doing much this game though. It's kind of my issue. Really hoping my Ephemerate goes off here. Okay, so terminate, and then I'm going to try to force the Hearse tap with Witch's Cottage on the Mulldrifter. And then I can hardcast Solitude or Unburial Rites Solitude. Probably when it writes the Solitude. Oh, right, they just Hearse it. Okay, I'm down to high roll. We're pretty behind. If we find land Archon, we're in really good shape. Prismatic Ending to deal with the Hearse is pretty nice. Oh, right, we trigger the freaking Turok. Maybe we're dead. Dingo, thank you for the raid. Hope you're having a good day, buddy. We're currently not quite dead on board. We probably don't have too many outs. That was a really well-timed Turok. I'll also say this, Channel Fireball, TCG player, whatever they are, they don't pay me to give the rundown on... I'm not the PR guy to handle the details of the merger, alright? That is not my job. Alright, 1-1. Okay, up against a Yorion deck, definitely gonna keep this. Discuss the inclusion of reserve list cards and Dominaria as hidden treasures. It's cool if it's real. If it's just a unconfirmed rumor still, then I don't have much opinion. I was gonna cut the Needle main deck. Would I cut the? I would cut the Shadow Spear. I don't know. It's just like I think you have to cut the Shadow Spear. I know Shadow Spear is important exactly for Murktide Game 1, but it's like if you want to improve the Renin 6, the Yawgmoth matchup, but you have to lose percentage points somewhere. And I think that the only place that really makes sense is by cutting the... What is my opponent doing over here? I'm not sure. I'm kind of worried about Teferi. Kind of feel like I should grief Ephemerate. But you have to lose percentage points somewhere. There's just like no way to like main deck a needle and not lose percentage points somewhere. Like Aether Spellbomb is better against Murktide than Shadow Spear, I think, Ross. You know. But if you disagree, then like maybe it is the Spellbomb. Looking like Counterspell. Yeah, it might be Counterspell here. That would be fine. I would probably just main phase the Tainted Indulgence. Could also persist the Grief. I think persisting Grief actually makes sense. Since I have the Ephemerate in the hand, and I have Aethermage's Touch as like another reanimation effect. Like in the past, persisting Grief was just like kind of like rough to do. So they're not traditional Yorion there. Just like Jeskai control with flicker effects. Yeah, it's kind of tough to like justify using your persist on Grief because you just needed to hold persist for so long, but I think this is a shell where it makes sense to do it a bit more aggressively. Let's hit them for 2, Ephemerate Grief. Take the resto. And then I think I just main phase Tainted Indulgence. Obviously would love to find an Archon. Is this considered a scam deck like Black Relic Scam? I mean, naming conventions in Magic are really weird. Okay, so this is interesting. I think I put back Godless Shrine because I really want to draw one of my... I guess I only have 8 more fetch lands, but I have 8 fetch lands, 2 Witch's Cottage, to be able to Unmarked Grave for Archon, then put Archon on top, and then Aethermage's Touch into it. I think that's what I should be prioritizing here. Is there some sort of math with Touch that makes it consistent? Yeah, but we're not going with it. Right now, like, so Aethermage's Touch, I think, is like around 7. The math is really weird because we're playing so many fetch lands. Without considering fetch lands, we're like 72%. Assuming you fetch twice, it's like maybe a little bit higher. Oh, it is a little bit higher. I'm not sure how much higher. But the we don't need to like just have Aethermage's Touch always be good naturally, because a lot of the time, most of the time, we're trying to Witch's Cottage before we Aethermage's Touch, which is pretty consistent because we have 11 fetch lands, 2 cottages. And then it always comes online on turn 4 because you have all swamps. Shred, thank you for the 11 months. Appreciate you. Alright, definitely hoping to find a something here. Okay, this is a something. No reason to attack, we'll just double block. I'm going to try to grief the Yorion. Okay, there's our Witch's Cottage. 1 up to Teferi. Regarding Esper food, I've recently picked it up and I love the deck. And we tried Boro instead of Manamo. I find myself in the position where I pick up additional card. I've won enough games on tapping Emery that I like the... Oh no! Okay, do I have to upkeep? Or do I have to cast this now? Or tap this now? It's so bad into the Verdict. Yeah, I think I just try to draw a land. Just try to draw a land, or like say or just like maybe natural Aethermage touch this turn. This turns off my swamp, so Cottage doesn't enter untapped. The problem is like they have a Verdict in their hand, and if I upkeep Aethermage's Touch, it just gets bounced to my hand, and like the trigger is just like not as good without me being able to attack with it. I can also just draw a land, any land for turn, and be fine. We think of Shredder versus DRC and Grinding Breach. I would probably try to play both. I would try to play both. I've seen some lists that play both. It's definitely doable. Okay, Fire is definitely a really good draw for them. It should be land Verdict, right? Okay, I did draw this. I don't want to Aethermage's Touch into the Verdict, so we'll go into turn, of course. Another Cottage would stink. It would be fine. We would just fetch for a swamp and then play the Cottage. So we get the Verdict out of their hand. Get to attack with the Archon, kill both walls. I'm assuming they don't have, like, maybe they have Solitude here. Looks like we're not going to find a Ephemerate necessary. We could just have one more draw, maybe. Should be fine. Lethal Mulldrifter. Yeah, I have 16 creatures in the deck. I did Hypergeometric Calculator, assuming no fetches. I think it's like 71 point something. With fetch lands, it's higher to hit. But again, like with Cottage, the math just gets so weird. Like, I don't know. It's like it's hard to like math it out. Like sometimes you do just have to cast Aethermage Touch and hope to run well, which I think is fine. Maybe not ideal, but fine. Okay, so they're an 80 card deck. I don't think I'm supposed to bring in like a ton of answers to Rest in Peace. When I just have discard spells, I have Teferi and I have Aethermage's Touch now. I think I'm going to cut the 4th Ephemerate. I might just play 3 Thoughtseize. Yeah, I get Frank Carson on the line. Maybe we'll cut the 4th Unmarked Grave. Yeah, the problem with, I think someone asked about Dispatch versus Bone Shards, and I missed that part. Yeah, the problem with Dispatch over Bone Shards is that you can't kill Planeswalkers. So like I usually bring in Bone Shards against Karn the Great Creator decks, and then you can't kill Ragavan on turn 1, which is a problem too. No Faithful Mending. Again, we have 2 Swamps and 2 Witch's Cottage. These lands only tap for black, so Mending can be pretty tough to cast in the deck on turn 2. Yeah, boy, 2 months. Appreciate you. Welcome back. It would be fine to play. Like, I think that it maybe is correct to play 1 Mending in the main over the first Teferi in the main, because it would be an additional Unmarked Grave tutor target, and it would make the deck like a bit faster earlier and have 1 more like 2 mana looting effect. It will be fine. But I think it's just a bit too bad on the mana. The mana's a lot better without it. Is a fun of Jace the Mind Sculptor over Drifter? No, Drifter's way too good. It's like a really good Aethermage target. It's really good to Witch's Cottage back. It's really good to Ephemerate. It's good to Persist. Yeah, you can't cut any Drifters. I do love that Mulldrifter is like a randomly modern playable card in 2022. It's a weird timeline. Can you swap a Swamp for Hallowed Fountain to get some of the mana for looting? Well, if you play a Hallowed Fountain, your Witch's Cottage are a lot worse. I really like the mana base to just be completely swamps. And like I would play a second Raffine's Tower before the first Fountain, but it's also like I'm not a fan. Do you plan to stop brewing and stick to a deck for a long time, or just want to brew forever? I mean, as someone who's like, you know, if I was ever to approach Modern more casually, maybe I would pivot back to be more of a deck specialist, but I do not. I would get so bored and burned out if I just stuck to a deck and streamed it all week, every week. I would not enjoy it. I would not enjoy being a deck specialist streamer. You wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't enjoy it. I would get burned out super fast playing the same deck every day. The Mulldrifter. Are you talking about the fact that I have different arts on the Mulldrifter vague? Because it's just like the only reason I have a different art Mulldrifter is because there was only 1 available full art. I couldn't buy any more. Yeah. Aethermage's Touch in Goryo's is something I want to test. What's interesting about Goryo's is that like putting Gristlebrand into play means that you're gonna be able to like obviously like draw into Ephemerate pretty consistently. The list would obviously look like this, and I think we would do something like I would really want to justify Faithful Mending in this list instead of no mending in the other one, where this list can't play Unmarked Grave. It has to play Mending and Tainted Indulgence. So I think I would be interested in doing something like this, cutting the Priest and the Prismatic Endings, playing 8 big creatures, the 2 Obs, 2 Jin-Gitaxias, 2 Prismatic Ending main, 2 side, and then you probably have to play you might have to play 2 Triomes. I'm not sure. That's maybe still maybe still play one. But maybe you do something like only one basic swamp or something in the 22 land deck. How's Touch felt? Touch has been really good. I've been really impressed by it. Like just being, it's been, you know, very, very good with Cottage. I think it's kind of exactly what the deck was missing too, where it gives you an extra way to cheat a creature into play, which is always what this archetype is missing. Like you either have Goryo's Vengeance or Persist, but you don't have a second good reanimation effect. And the fact that this one is not only a good reanimation effect, but it's also one that beats Graveyard Hate is really nice. 22 land seems low. It's fine. I mean, I think it's been fine. Especially in this other version where you're 22 lands, but you have like 8 2-mana draw 2s. I think it's fine. I wouldn't mind a 23rd. You could play 23rd over the first Teferi in this deck if you really thought it was too low. We can keep this hand. We can try to grief away a Rest in Peace pitching Archon, Rites for an Archon, and then Cottage back, Archon cast Aethermage's Touch. That's a good draw. Magician, thank you for the 11 months. Appreciate you. Yeah, so probably tomorrow I'll play some more of this version and some of the other version too. Dude, they left in Prismatic Ending. Guess I take Solitude. Oh, damn it. I didn't... Oh, sorry. I meant to pitch the Archon, not the Grave. Okay, well. I'll just draw Tainted Indulgence then. It's too bad. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Like, I would build the mana base very similar, although I'd be likely to play one more Shockland over one basic swamp, because you have to play Mending in the Goryo's version. And then I would cut these 6 cards for 2 lands to support the mana base and Mending, and I would play this. But I just haven't tested it yet. I just tested this one so far. But I imagine it's like about as similar. Would it make sense to play Baby Jace? Baby Jace just sucks. And like again, you need to keep the deck resilient to creature-based removal. It's a big strength to the archetype. Not being weak to Push Bolt. I leave Prismatic Ending after seeing Teferi game 1. I'm not scared of Teferi. Teferi is fine. And they're also an 80 card deck too, so like leaving a Prismatic Ending as an answer to the 80 card deck's permanence is like a little mediocre. Another Ice? Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good too. I think I'll wait on the Tainted Indulgence, but if I could draw a fetch land, I get to Indulgence, then Aethermage's Touch in a turn. Okay. Oh, opponent left in... Oh, sorry. Okay, the other side, sorry. Yeah, leaving an ending as an answer to Teferi is fine, sorry. Missed that. Yeah, and so yeah, I'm definitely just gonna go... Oh, I guess there is some tension here with trying to Aethermage's Touch. Like, if I go Cottage back the Archon, and then they counter the Aethermages, I don't have an Archon in the yard for Persist anymore, so I'll actually just Persist this turn. Just eat a counterspell, yeah. Although, one thing I've really liked about this deck so far is, like, it used to be, like, you could never waste a Persist. Like, it was just... To waste a Persist was just death. It was just the end of the game. but now, because you have other reanimation effects, it's just kind of fine. Okay, so I think we'll do this while they're tapped out. Dude, I'm so hyped about this. This is really sweet interaction. If they want a verdict to me, that's okay. I can just do this again, too. Oh, now I have an Ephemerate. Don't think I'm going to cash in the Ephemerate now, though. Just take the draw step. Might want to go, like, Mulldrifter Ephemerate. I think that's fine. I think it's very... I don't think there's like too many wrong answers here, to be honest. All right, let's just let this go. Then I can Thoughtseize. Then I can try to Aethermage's Touch plus Ephemerate next turn. Although maybe saving the Thoughtseize for next turn was good too. Oh, I didn't mean to click that quickly. I probably would have rather taken the Omen of the Seas than the Yorion. Okay, well, you get their Omen of the Seas, I guess. They put one card on bottom, one card on top. Alright, so here I think we just go cast Rites on Archon. Because again, I think you want to use your animation before your Aethermage just touches, because if you Cottage back your Archon, then you lose your touch. You're out of touch at a time. What's cool here is if they rest in peace, I can Cottage back an Archon and my upkeep Aethermage's Touch, then Ephemerate. So 2 cards on the bottom, then they're going to upkeep Castle, which I don't really like because this turns off like your ability to cast like your Teferis and stuff. So let's take a draw step, and then I'm just going to flash back the Rites. Which works. I only have 3 Godless Shrines in the deck, so I can only Ephemerate twice here, but that gets them out of cards in hand. Seems correct to do. Can Cottage back Mulldrifter next turn, but probably not too necessary. Okay, we can keep this. I imagine this deck struggles against combo and big mana, but has a game against aggro mid-range. Sounds about right. Yeah, I would say it kind of depends on the combo deck and the big mana deck, though. You are a Grief Ephemerate deck, which can be really good against like decks like search for the Teamer Enchantment deck. I'm sorry, I can never remember that card or that deck. And I think you're okay against. We're like 2-0 against Titan today, but Tron is hard. So it just kind of depends. Song of Creation, dude. I can never like. I'm just hard locked. I'm just hard locked to like forget the name of the card and then have to ask chat because this has just been my like decision tree or my memory path the whole time. Whatever. The whole time it's just I can't remember the name of the card, so I have to ask chat every single time. Song of Creation. Probably play around this Spell Pierce, just iteration. Yeah, I did see Magic Aid's new deck. It's pretty cool. I think the biggest issue is that like too many decks are just really prepared to beat Urza Saga tokens, but I thought it was a really cool idea. I liked it. Did this stream stutter a little bit? Why couldn't we take the counter to resolve turn 2? I mean, I don't think persisting Grief on turn 2 is that like important. Like, they have a 1-lander. We could just play kind of slow, right? Why didn't I bin Archon turn 1? How could I bin Archon? Just, like, go to discard turn 1? Maybe that was better. It was better. Because I missed it. Stream seems smooth. Yeah, my chat refreshed. Okay. But it doesn't say I dropped frames. I'm not sure what that was about. Yeah, I'm just kind of okay to play around the Pierce, I think. Can maybe go like Indulgence into turn, bait the Spell Pierce. This is fine too. Okay, so next turn, if my opponent taps out, like if they draw a land, there's a pretty good chance they'll just like jam iteration. Maybe they'll wait for a turn, but I can go like Witch's Cottage Grief to the top. Oh yeah, I can go Witch's Cottage Grief to the top. Then cast Tainted Indulgence, pitch Grief, then Persist if they only have the Spell Pierce still. Dude, Cottage is just so hype. You know what's funny? I saw like a post on Twitter this like weekend about someone complaining about how underpowered Cottage is. And I was like, I think Cottage is pretty good. But that was before I like had this deck together. I was like, I don't know, Cottage is fine. I'll just pay if they spell Pierce, obviously, and then now I think I probably just hold the Grief for a turn. Yeah, it's no Gingerbread Cabin. I've also trophied with Gingerbread Cabin. I mean, there's like they're not Mystic Sanctuary, but they're, you know, good cards. Is that what gave me? No, the idea for me to start brewing this was actually, although maybe like just put it in my like memory banks or whatever. But this sounds dumb, but my sealed double masters deck for my RCQ was a playable. Aethermage's touch deck. I just, like, weirdly enough, had a density of, like, giant creatures for it. And I'm like, man, this card's... I don't know, I like Aethermage touch into, like, Dragolor, Silumgar, and Ashen Rider. It's like, wow, this card's pretty fun. And I just kind of gave it another look, even though Torborg... JK Torborg has been in the chat every day for, like, a year. Begging me to play the card, and doing a million deck techs for the card. But I finally found a good home for it. I'm liking this one. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I like connected the Cottage dot to the Aethermage's touch, but just kind of perfect. Comes on turn 4. Cottage is like already kind of like pretty sick to get back Mulldrifter, Grief Solitude. They did 2 bolts here. That would be so brutal. They only have 2 bolts in the yard already. Kind of surprised they didn't cast Iteration. Yeah, that would have been 2 unknown cards too. Wait, they didn't draw. Surely they didn't draw it. Oh, they drew it. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah, Raffine's Power. I don't think this deck would be very good without Raffine's Tower. And then also Tainted Indulgence too. Tainted Indulgence being... oh, fuck. Oh, no, this is fine. I can just bounce the dress down. Or I can just Ephemerate the Archon end of turn. Then they have the Unholy Heat. Oh, no, I'll just plus the Teferi. And then instant speed Persist. And then maybe they'll Unholy Heat the Teferi, and I'll get to keep my Archon. Yeah, but like this being blue-black instead of blue-white is really important too, again. Why not Persist while they're tapped out? I have Teferi, I don't care that they're tapped out. Or untapped. So if I draw a land, I'll probably just go Unmarked Grave or Unmarked Grave Rites Archon. If not, I'll go Mulldrifter, Ephemerate Mulldrifter, which is always sick. Can also draw. Oh, I guess I don't have a Cottage for Aether Touch. Yeah, these Ephemerates do look really good. They're really expensive in paper, but they're pretty cheap on Magic Online. Opponent with the stop at the upkeep, probably just doing something IRL. Okay, didn't draw the land. That's okay. Obviously, still pretty ahead, I think. How badly things have to be going for you to cast Touch with no Cottage shut up? You're either like usually really ahead or really behind when you're doing that, but I do think that that's kind of like the, you know, the contract you sign when you play the deck, right? Just conceding. I think that's kind of the contract you sign when you play the deck. The understanding that you will not always be able to Cottage something back for your touches, and you're like between 70 and 75% to hit most of the time. Kind of depends on how many creatures you've drawn before you cast the touch too, but I think you just kind of have to harder the cards, and sometimes that's what you sign up for. Okay, so I lost something on the collage. I heard it. I don't know if you guys could see. Okay, I'm going to bring in the Stony Silence is the Teferi, cutting the Griefs, and the fourth Ephemerate. Have I played any other TCGs? I've played a few. Not super deep. I like Ascension a lot, I think, is the name of the deck. It's like a deck building game. Ace of Spades, 12 months, thank you. I don't see anything, or... Dominion. Maybe I'm thinking. Maybe that's the name of it. Maybe I've played Dominion too. Yeah, I've played poker. Poker's like fine. It's honestly like really boring though, where you just sit and you do nothing for. I guess I keep this. I just discard Archon turn 1. Like, the problem with poker is you just sit and do nothing for like an hour, and you sit in silence with a bunch of old men who are angry and they've been smoking, and it's just like a bad vibe. And then you wait for an hour for a freaking playable hand, and then they just like fold immediately. It's not very fun. But what I do like is poker vlogs. I do like poker vlogs. Poker vlogs are cool because then they just like cut all the boring shit out and then they show you the fun parts. Yeah, no, the poker with friends is really fun. Poker with friends is really fun, of course. But like poker like at a casino or something, I think is really boring. But with friends, you get to be like loosey goosey. You just get to goof around and have fun. But me and my friends would usually prefer to play D&D instead of poker, I think, too. Yeah, I know. I know poker. You could just spend your time like staring at people. I don't know. It's just boring. Yeah, hours of boredom highlighted by moments of sheer terror. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, when you're at just like a poker room, it's just like the vibes are horrible most of the time. I've only like gone and played poker at like a casino like 2 or 3 times. I had a good time one time, but it wasn't like Hold'em. It was like where you played against the dealer. It was just kind of like you're flipping against the dealer, but you got to put bets on the strength of your hand, which was kind of fun. And I got 4 kings. I got 4 of a kind, and they handed me like $1,000, and I was like, hell yeah. I didn't really understand why I won $1,000 because I didn't bet that much, but it was like a bonus thing or something. Oh yeah, I played blackjack in Vegas, not with Doomwick, next to Doomwick though, and I just like lost it all immediately. It was, but it was a $50 minimum bet. It was my first time ever playing too. I was like, whatever. Did I miss a land drop? I did miss a land drop because I went to discard on turn 1 to discard an Archon. The Exile and Holy Heat, that's pretty good for me. Bring back Ante for Magic so we can achieve the same awful vibe as poker. Hell yeah. Let chaos reign. Okay, so I'll leave the Marsh Flats in hand because it can be a Cottage for me. And then if I draw a white card, I don't know if I'm Solituding. Obviously just hoping I could resolve or persist. Monkey. You feel like tapping out, opponent? Oh no, another persist was my top card. It's always Ragavan always gets you. And they don't persist, which means they have counter magic. So what's the play? Well, if I persist and they have a counter spell, I just lose. So I think that they probably don't counter an Evoke Mulldrifter ever because they think they're just going to be able to kill me. And then with the Evoke trigger on the stack, I can Witch's Cottage back a Solitude. Wait, hold on. I still just died to a counter spell though. I mean, I'm dead to a counter spell no matter what, I guess. This beats a Spell Pierce type effect. I guess I beat Spell Pierce anyways. Yeah, I guess I should just cast Persist. This is fancy play syndrome, but I'm dead to counterspell anyways. Okay. Game 3 gets me on the play. Yeah, I get some style points for this. Yeah, I could have drawn Grief. That's true. That's true. I once had a Ragavan hit a Persist that would have reanimated Archon and limited a barf. Big barf. Oh yeah, I cited out the Griefs. Okay, harder to hit the Grief then. I could have hit Ephemerate. I could have hit Ephemerate though. No, but I didn't have the white mana because I fetched the tap land. Okay, I'll keep this on the play. Obviously kind of bad against a turn 1 Ragavan, but that's kind of like the motto of this matchup. Sometimes you play through it anyways. But it's Multi 5. I like that. Oh, here he comes. Watch out, Spike. It's $100. So I main phase Indulgence, looking for like Solitude white cards, kind of desperate. Probably okay. Worse against Graveyard Hate. I have a white card, so I feel like just main phasing this is fine. Okay, I guess we're jamming some Teferis at least. They did still Multi 5. No, my Cottage. Okay, only one Cottage left. Their hate is counter magic. They have like usually 2 or 3 Graveyard Hate spells on the sideboard. Some split of Unlicensed Hearse and Relic of Progenitus. Magus of the Moon. Solitude, please. Persist. Wow, a couple lands away from that. Turn 2 Magus on the play. Solitude is a really good draw. Persist is a really good draw. Besides that, we're pretty locked out. See Merc play more Relic or Hearse. More Hearse. Like a lot of times it's like 2 Hearse, 1 Relic. I think it should be probably 3 Hearse. Hearse is just so freaking good, but that's also a fine split. Can you cast that for me? I mean, kind of hard for them to not have a counterspell here, I guess. Maybe they'll, maybe we'll draw a Solitude and they'll counter that. They did Multi 5 too, but you know, they haven't been playing more creatures, they haven't been playing cantrips, so their hand is probably some amount of counterspells. Is Stony Silence just for Bauble Ragavan Treasure? It hits Hearse and Relic or Progenitus. It's their Graveyard Hate, which is pretty important. Alright, Solitude's still best draw. It's stuck. Maybe they probably have 2 burn spells. I don't know, we'll see. They sack Ragavan. Discard a card, I draw a card. If they're sacking Ragavan, they discard a land, so they can heat kill Archon now. But slows their clock down, stops their mana production. And I still have 8 good draws in Solitude and Persist. Another Ragavan, damn it. I guess more Ragavans did make sense for their hand. No basic planes, because we're supporting Witch's Cottage. Still a lot of good draws, though. 7 good draws in the 40 card deck. I know anyone else swamps with basic planes. The island might be helpful against Bloodmoon effects. I mean, I have Solitude for Magus. And basic planes and basic island make your deck worse in every single game that doesn't involve Bloodmoon, and are also not like perfect answers to Bloodmoon either. And the deck can also like function just off of swamp sometimes. You know what I mean? It's fine. And again, I think making your deck worse in every single game that doesn't involve a Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon in a metagame where Blood Moon and Magus are kind of at an all-time low doesn't make much sense. Looks like they're Murktiding. How's the day? We have a pretty good record on the day. I think we're gonna lose this game though. I'm having a really good stream. I'm going to draw a Solitude, and they're not going to have a counterspell somehow. Although if they should cast the Indulgence if they don't have counterspell, so we should be dead even if we draw one of our outs. We did draw one of our outs, though. Opponent, stop playing with my heart! Oh, I should probably have tapped a Delta first. I guess it's okay. So they probably counter this. Okay, now I guess it just writes the Archon. I guess that's better than Aethermage's touch. They probably just have a second counterspell though. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm losing it. The last card might be Heat, but we're just so ahead now. I can't believe they didn't counter the Solitude. Amazing. Such a punt. Such a punt. We have Unmarked Grave, Persist on the play. I always keep this. I know we're missing a land, but we also get to... I think we're going to grief them turn 1. I'll have to draw a land. Yeah, the upside's like way too high to mulligan. You just always have to keep this. Opponent says, please target yourself, which unfortunately is an illegal play. Grief would be better if you could. Reanimator, or Enchantress. Does it take the Sprawl? Yeah, I cannot believe they didn't counter the Solitude. That was nuts. I guess they were scared of Persist. They're probably scared of Persist, but obviously I didn't have both Solitude and Persist. I would have played either one earlier. Alright, I will draw a land right now. Oops, forgot to draw a land. How is this matchup? Probably bringing in Terastodon, right? That'd be fun. Okay, I meant to draw a land last turn. I'll try to remember this turn. I'll even take a Witch's Cottage. Okay. I would never have taken a Witch's Cottage there. That was a bait. I would have been fuming if I had Witch's Cottage. Sitting punt? No, this is a tap land. I think it's fine. Like, if you draw Raffine's Tower, you still can't cast Unmarked Grave the next turn, you know? I guess Enchantress's favor. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. The, their protection spell, Solitary Confinement or whatever that card's called, doesn't stop the Archon triggers, right? Because it doesn't stop the life loss. It only stops damage. So that's kind of... That seems like a big factor. But if they have, like, Leyline, it's kind of rough. White Carders would be nice to Solitude. Okay. Oh, right. Sorry, I always forget that that card also gives you Hexproof. Never mind, does stop it then. Right. I always forget that card gives you Hexproof. Alright, Sithis. Contempt for 3. Enchantress top 8'd the Sunday Challenge, right? Yeah. Barf. That's 7th. Yeah, Terastodon blowing up these lands seems pretty good. I'll definitely bring it in. I'm just going to mulligan or concede this game, though. We can't win. Way too far behind. But I'll bring in the Terastodon. Probably the Endings. Endings seem okay. Solitude seems kind of unnecessary. Mulldrifter seems probably a little slow. This looks pretty good. Any new Goblins tech coming up? I think Goblins is, I agree, secretly good. I don't have any new like tech for it. We played a lot of it during the trophy race too. I'll probably circle back to it at some point soon because we're still like months away from a new set. I'll hold on to 1 or 2 Solitudes. I don't know. You have a Archon to kill the guys. I'm not too worried about it. Would Muxus be healthy for Modern? Muxus is like a horribly designed Magic card, so probably not. Muxus is just like a commander card that people just assumed would never be playable and constructed because it's 6 mana, but it's just like really poorly designed. All right, Sneep. Fleck buff. I haven't messed with much Fiddlebender. Dude, we get to Ephemerate Terastodon maybe with this hand. That'd be really hype. We haven't done that today. Alright, casting Unmarked Grave over Indulgence, even though I was told Indulgence is strictly better. Cottage of Snoop. We did that as a Dono deck one time. It was really bad. The mana just was... yeah. Although I may be looking at some other Cottage shells. I had like an idea for one. I can't remember. Obviously the Goryo's Vengeance deck too. I was wanting to look at another Cottage deck. I can't remember which one. Do not rest in peace me. Thank you, opponent. Thank you. Muxus is great. I mean, Muxus is great, but that's why we're complaining about it. It's just too good. Oh, yeah, we played Cottage and Zombies, too. That's right. Dude, the Sanctum Weaver's pretty good, huh? Although I can ephemerate the Terastodon and kill the Abundant Growth to make the Sanctum Weavers worse. I think first I'm just going to cast Tainted Indulgence and kind of see, you know, what my options are for next turn. Okay, that's a pretty good one. Alright, and then I'll just exile Abundant Growth. This is up to 3? Yeah, maybe I just don't want to give them too many more elephants. I mean, I'll probably play Zombies again at some point. I don't know when, though. They have 5 mana. Sanctum Weaver's pretty good. Modern Horizons 2 cards, am I right? 6 mana? I think we're dead, chat. Okay, put a useless Archon of Cruelty into play. The person who suggested leaving against Solitudes probably feels very vindicated at the moment. 0-15. You'll get there eventually. Although it's pretty hard to get these like beginning of league predictions correct. It's hard to run well on like, you know, the 1 in 5 chance or 1 in 4 chance. Alright, if they just have, you know, 4 lands in their hand. Okay, 1 mana, draw 4. Okay, now if they just have 6 lands in their hand. Okay, now if they just have 9 lands in their hand. I yield, I yield. We got to Ephemerate Terastodon. Hard to be too upset. So 3-2, 4-1, 3-2. Deck feels really good too. Dude, my opponents kept casting this in my sealed event yesterday. My deck had so much removal, this card was so hard to beat, but I did beat it. I did beat it in my sealed RCQ. Twice. Okay, this deck is sick. I'll probably play some more tomorrow. I think we'll also...